guys, welcome back to the second in my annual EDS and HSD Awareness Month videos. Today is really one for the zebras themselves. EDS and HSD can be so tough to live with, and there's not always much help or management around because doctors and medical professionals don't fully understand the condition. So as a community, we have to help each other. Earlier this year, I started my Hacks for Spoonies series over on Instagram and TikTok, and it was mind-blowing, the response. So I really wanted to take this opportunity to ask my dazzle from across the world what their top tips, hacks and tricks were for living with EDS and HSD to try and make our lives that teensy bit easier. I really hope that you find these hacks, tips and tricks useful, and where I can, I've put some more information down in the description.
So using this hack for writing aids doesn't have to be expensive or doesn't mean that you need to buy a name brand of something. So one of the best hacks that my occupational therapist showed to me was when she got out a tennis ball in the middle of one of our sessions and just drilled a hole through it with a drill. And I was entirely confused as to what she was doing with this. But what you do is you put a pencil or a thin pen through that, and holding the tennis ball allows you to make that large grip without hyperextending or dislocating anything. And that has been extremely helpful for writing things like standardized tests where you have to use like a specific type of pencil. So yeah, that has been one of my favorite hacks.
My, I guess you could call it a hack for EDS/HSD would be cushions. I'm surrounded on my bed with loads of different types of cushions and pillows of different densities and different shapes. And I think if you just need to like support a joint, or if you need to sit for a long period of time but that hurts your hips or things like that, having different types of pillows and cushions that you can sort of pack around you and build into a little nest is one of the simplest and also most comfortable ways that you can support your body on a day-to-day basis. I guess it doesn't really count as a hack, but I would also say talk to some of the people that have your disorder, or people who might have similar disorders. I've met so many wonderful people, and like even if I don't talk to them every day, I mean a lot of them I do talk to every day, but even if I don't talk to them every day, knowing that they're there and knowing that somebody else is experiencing what I'm experiencing is so validating and comforting, and has changed my outlook on this disorder. So it's not really a hack, but I would recommend doing it anyway.
My top hack for dealing with EDS, I think, would probably be to get all the things that you need to help you cope with it. We all know that there isn't a cure at the moment anyway. So we've got to live with it. And if we need things to help us do that, then so be it. One of the things, in fact, it was Jenni who actually recommended this. Something that I absolutely love and I now cannot go to sleep without is this. It's not a pillow for your head. It's for in between your legs. So you put your leg through here and it kind of cushions your knees, which is great support for me. And it just really helps to align your spine better. I already have like an S-shaped back. I have scoliosis and everything. So like my back is already out of shape, but something like this really helps me get into a more decent position and therefore helps me to sleep better. So I would highly recommend getting yourself a specially formulated knee pillow kind of thing. I got this one on Amazon. Another thing as well is, and this took me a long time to actually get used to and get comfortable with, is to get yourself a mobility aid if you need it. This is my favorite one at the moment. This is Blossom. I got her from Amazon. She is adorable, she's lovely, and more importantly, she keeps me upright. I really like the offset handle here because it just helps with like weight distribution and stuff like that. It took a long time for me to get used to using mobility aids, but I now have 3, all in different colours. As you can tell, I'm quite a colourful person, so now that I have the ones that actually match my outfits, it makes me feel a lot better.
I don't really have a top hack for my EDS. It's just living life to the fullest, and I'm very lucky I've got a great support base around me. So yeah.
My top EDS hack is hemp cream, hemp bath bombs. They all work. They're great. I love them.
My life hack for living with EDS is to save little bits of energy whenever you can. So simple things like wearing as accessible clothing as possible is so easy. For example, these joggers here have got poppers all the way down. So if I need the loo, I can literally just pop them off and they'll come back on again when I need to put them on. Just saving tiny little bits of energy throughout the day really adds up, especially for someone with severe fatigue.
L'attività fisica è la cosa che più in assoluto mi aiuta a stare meglio. Avere una muscolatura tonica mi permette di avere meno sublussazioni e meno dolori. Il ciclismo mi aiuta a tenere attivo il metabolismo, a sciogliere le piccole contratture e a tenere attiva la digestione. Cominciare a fare attività fisica è stata la scelta migliore che abbia mai preso. Ovviamente sono seguito da un personal trainer che è informato dei miei limiti ed è molto attento a rispettarli.
I obviously share a lot of hacks all the time over on my Instagram and my TikTok, but there's two that I really wanted to share with you this year. I often talk about my L-shaped knife as being the best for EDS, but I wanted to show some other products because I always go on about that. So the first one is this thing. Can you tell what it is just by looking at it? Well, it is a hairdryer stand. It's a really great pot and EDS hack. So basically you attach your hairdryer onto it, and that means that you can dry your hair hands-free, so you don't have to hold something really heavy above your head, especially when you're getting too hot. So that is one of my absolute number one tips. You can find a link to that down in the description. And my second one is a knee cushion, and not just any knee cushion, a knee cushion with a strap. You could easily make one of these yourself if you're decent at sewing and have a little bit of an elastic that you can put onto any pillow. I just put it between my knees at night, and this holds it onto my leg because us people with EDS are notorious fidgeters, and if you just put a pillow there, it'll end up halfway across the room in the morning. So that's why I found this strap really helpful, and it just helps reduce my knee pain and my hip pain and helps get my hips in the right place so that I can have a comfortable night's sleep.
My EDS hack is something I've only just started doing recently. I struggle to use a hairdryer or straightening and curling tools, but I have naturally wavy hair. So when my hair is wet, I can plait it in 2 braids down the side of my head, or I will use a dressing gown belt and I'll plait that into it. That will leave my hair quite tidy and natural looking without having to use any tools that will make my hands and my arms ache. And in between washes, I'll use this spray bottle, I'll replait my hair and then I'll spray it all over with this. And it's got quite a nice trigger so it won't hurt my hypermobile hands as well. And this is how my hair will turn out once I take the braids out.
My top EDS hack would be to keep some gentle movement in the body and respecting my fatigue. So sometimes in the past I would push through my fatigue and hope that things would get better. But I've learned the hard way that you really have to respect the fatigue. So my top hack is to keep moving when you can with gentle movement, respecting the body, but also taking quality rest time. It's really important, and it's the thing that's really helped me improve my fatigue levels. So taking time out to sit down, have a cup of tea, have an afternoon nap has been absolutely wonderful for managing my symptoms.
The best hack I have for living with EDS is joint tape. I use it on pretty much everything when it needs it, just to get me through my day, do what I need to do with minimal injuries and pain.
My top hacks for living with EDS are heat packs and ice packs. They're really handy. But other than that, it's more distraction. So listening to podcasts, audiobooks when I've got a headache, or watching a film or TV program that I love. Anything that can distract me from the pain I get, that's probably my top hack.
My hack is always write notes before seeing your doctor. But record all medical appointments too. This means that you don't have to worry about forgetting any information, and that if you need to, it's easy to make a complaint.
My top life hack with Ehlers-Danlos syndrome would be to take advantage of every single mobility aid you can and to stop worrying about the judgments. I know it's such an easy thing to say, and it took me so long to overcome. I was in pain for 7 years, not wanting to do anything about it because I didn't want to be different and I didn't want to be outcasted. But now knowing that I can use my mobility aids to my advantage and live a somewhat normal life and be able to do things in my wheelchair that I wouldn't be able to do it all standing, that means the world. And if you need a grocery cart with a buggy that's motorized, then go for it. That's what you need. If you need to use your wheelchair one day and walk the next, then that's what you need. And it's different for everybody. So to be able to really listen to your body is the biggest thing. And the first step of any kind of hack with EDS is to just start listening to yourself and listening to your body.
So what is my top hack for living with EDS? I think meet other people that have EDS, and you can do that by like following other people online that have EDS, and also rest is really important, and baths are an absolute lifesaver for me. They're just so helpful when I'm having a bad pain day. Baths is like a really good tip as well. Invest in rest. That is something that my partner told me to invest in rest, and that's something that I've kind of been doing a lot more this year, and like just making sure that when I rest I'm kind of doing it regularly and making sure that I'm kind of as comfortable as possible. So yeah, invest in rest.
My top hack for living with EDS is to not be afraid to ask for help. Whether that's help from a person or whether that's using kind of mobility aids and things like that. I think I've just learned over the years that getting that kind of extra help doesn't, show that you're giving in, or it's not a weakness. It's just finding ways to, live a bit better with your EDS. If I didn't use my wheelchair or my crutches, I would be able to do a lot less than I can at the moment. They allow me to get out of the house for a bit, which is really nice, and be a little bit more independent. It took me a long time to get around to kind of my head around to sort of using them. But now that I use them, I realise how much they allow me to do. And the same goes for accepting help from people. If I didn't have help from my mum when I needed to have a shower, I probably wouldn't be able to have a shower. So I think it takes time to accept these different levels of help and adaptations and things like that. But I would say that my biggest hack is to try and get your head around using those kinds of things, because they can open up your world so much more than if you don't use them.
One of them specifically is an arm to hold your phone, purely because if you're like me, where your arms are one of your weakest parts, you can use an arm to hold your phone whilst recording a video. You can use it for watching videos in your bed. Mine clips onto my bedpost, and talking has been one of the greatest things for me, purely because it helps me relax a bit more. It helps me come to terms with what I'm going through, and it just helps people around me understand and be more sympathetic, and I find that's really useful.
My top hack for living with EDS is to go online, to find people who are experiencing the same things as you, and to find a community that you can be a part of. The online EDS community was one of the main reasons that I sought a diagnosis, that I kept fighting for a diagnosis, and that I was able to identify symptoms within myself that said, yes, this is why I have EDS, or this is why these symptoms are happening.
My top hack for someone living with EDS is not to be afraid to use mobility aids which are going to help you. This year I've started to use a walking stick, which is something I wish I had started to do a lot earlier. Up until now I had been almost housebound and was unable to even go out for a walk, but now that I have my new walking stick called Maryland, I'm able to go out for a walk and have that slight bit of independence back that I wasn't able to have before.
Hi, my top hack of living with ehlers-danlos type 3 are these beautiful silver splints. I have them now for like 1.5 years and I'm super happy with them. I wear them all day. They help me a lot during the day with daily activities like typing or writing or opening a door, but just with everything you use your hands for, which is quite a lot. These are designed to prevent your hands from dislocating, subluxating and overstretching. Due to the silver splints I can't do that anymore, my hands can't do that anymore, and that helps me a lot for reducing the pain. Since I have them now, I have less pain in my hands, but also less problems when I write or type. My fingers won't lock or something anymore, so for me they are super helpful.
So to be honest, I'd say it's quite difficult to encapsulate into one top hack. I'm actually releasing a reel on my Instagram this month with management strategies for ehlers-danlos syndrome. But if I were to summarise it all into one hack, I would say making several lifestyle changes.
What's my top hack for this condition? I would say for me it's exercising. Going to the beach, going surfing, going in the ocean. I have to be on top of this condition the whole time, and if it wasn't for my swimming, I think I'd be in a lot worse off place. So my top hack is actually being on top of it and exercising.
Pienso que de los mejores consejos que puedo dar es escucha a tu cuerpo en cuanto a las necesidades que tiene e investiga. A pesar de que muchos de nosotros no somos médicos, el tener una idea general acerca de nuestra condición o enfermedad nos ayuda a entender mejor nuestro cuerpo. También de esta forma podemos tener mejores herramientas para comunicarle a nuestros médicos nuestros síntomas o lo que sentimos día con día, lo cual los puede guiar para darnos un mejor diagnóstico y tratamiento. Considero que el Internet puede ser una gran herramienta usándola responsablemente.
What's my top hack for living with EDS? It's spending your spoons on things you love. Obviously, there are times when you have to spend spoons on things that aren't particularly edifying, if you have to take a bath that day or something like that. But a lot of the times, people who live with us, who love us, will be very, concerned about how we're doing and say, you can relax. And yes, you can. And yes, your worth is not defined by your productivity. But if you know that making this piece of art or reading this piece of fan fiction, if that's the only thing you can spend your spoons on that day, will be edifying to your soul, sometimes it is worth it. Whether that thing that you're spending your spoons on is a productive thing or a work thing or just a thing that will bring you joy, it's worth budgeting spoons for the things that you're passionate about.
So one of my top hacks for living with EDS has been to really look at aids for writing. So I am both a student and a writer, and I was in high school when I was diagnosed, and I thought that maybe I would never be able to write again because of the pain and the dislocations and the hyperextending. But with using aids like pen agains and ring pens, which allow you to have a different grip on pens and pencils for when I have to write by hand, and then by really using speech-to-text software to type everything else, pretty much. I type everything that I can with speech-to-text software. That has really gotten me through school and allows me to continue to write as a writer.
My top hacks are a heated blanket, which I have on the bed, a hot water bottle, which is like my best friend. Also, I have a giant pillow. There's a pregnancy pillow, and that's like the extra long one. And I can prop myself up in that at night time or wherever. I can take it wherever I go. And also the Alexa adaptation, which you can attach to your lights, which is really, really good and really, really helpful.
My top hack for living life with EDS would be choosing to have a positive mindset as possible and to make the best of life despite the struggles we may face on a daily basis. that can look like celebrating the victories, even if it's as small as getting out of bed for the day, to overcoming brain and spinal surgeries. It can also look like finding ways to make the best of having to use mobility aids and braces. So for me, I've decorated my neck brace to make it more fun and so that it's not as plain. I've also used duct tape on my wheelchair so the wheels have a floral print.
Thank you so much for watching our tips, tricks and hacks video. I really hope you found some useful ideas there. If you've liked this video, please do give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't already, I'd love it if you'd hit subscribe. I will see you very soon for another Awareness Month video. Spins and love.